Hi folks, I'm Nathan with Two Guys and a Ride, and welcome to our Car Tech how-to video on the newly refreshed 2024 Honda Ridgeline, and this is the RTL trim level. Today, I'll be covering the driver's information and infotainment screens. I'll do a general overview, show you how to access information, and do a deep dive. Let's get started.
Today, we're working with our friends at Luther Mankato Honda in Mankato, Minnesota.
All right, so the driver's screen has been completely redone. So what we have is, on the left side, we have a 7-inch digital screen, and on the right side, you have an analog speedometer. So it's very, very similar to the Honda Civic. So on the left-hand side, where the RPM gauge is, this is where you can manipulate the information on the screen. To do that, you're going to use the buttons on the left side of the steering wheel. You have a home button, and then you have a rotary knob that goes up and down, and then you can press it. All right, so to start with, anytime you're in something in the dashboard and you want to get out, it's always just press the home key. That also brings up this menu. So if I rotate this, your choices are brightness, no content, tire pressure, maintenance, wheel drive torque distribution, navigation, phone, audio, speed and time, range and fuel, any warnings, gauge display settings, and then we're back to brightness. So to get into any one of these, you're just going to press this rotary knob here. Okay, so if I want to adjust this, I just go up and down and I can adjust the brightness. And that right now is as bright as it gets. To get out of it, I'm going to press the home button, kind of like a back button. I can go up and I can say I don't want any content. And if I wait long enough, that message will disappear. Okay, but if I want to change between kilometers and miles per hour, I just click and hold. And you can see it changing on the dash. All right. Now, let's press the home button again. Let's go up to tire pressure. Love it that you can get the tire pressure right in your screen there. There is nothing else in that particular screen, so we're going to press the home button, and then I'm going to rotate up to maintenance. Okay, so you have oil life. I'm going to go back, go up. All-wheel drive torque distribution. You'll see where the torque is distributed on all 4 tires there, because the lines will light up. Now press this, go back, go up to navigation. Right now you just get a compass. This particular RTL trim level does not have navigation built in, so you would use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but you do get a very nice graphic compass. I'm going to press the home button. I'm going to go up again. This is where your phone would be, and I don't have mine connected, but this is where you could look at recent calls, you could look up phone numbers, and so on. I'm going to press home button there, go up one. For your audio, if I just turn the power on a minute so you can see it, to switch back and forth between stations, favorites, you're going to go right here. Okay. And then if you want to change sources, you can rotate up or down, doesn't matter. And here are all your different sources, so you simply select, I'll go down here. Okay, I can simply go here and just click, and it's on FM. All right, now volume is right here. All right, press the home button. I'll go up. You can look at your average speed and then elapsed time since you last reset it. You want to reset it, you press and hold, or just press this. Now, it says A on the left, so if I rotate down, I have trip B. So you can have 2 different sets of information if you want to leave one running constantly and you want to always reset B, something like that. All right, press the home button. I'm going to go up, range and fuel. All right. So it'll tell you how far you have to go. It'll tell you what your average miles per gallon is. And 12.9 does not reflect what this truck will do. So I've been out driving it and then idling for long periods. So that's why you're seeing that. And again, you have A and B. Now what I like is you can just click right here and reset it. So this is your trip meter. So it's super easy to reset. Press the home button. Any sort of warnings that the vehicle would send to you would pop up here. Hit the home button. Now we go into gauge display settings. So I'm going to go rotate up or down, but these are everything you see with a check mark is everything we just saw. Okay, now you notice that maintenance is grayed out. That's because it will always be displayed in this menu. You can't change that. The ones that are white boxes with check mark, those are the ones you can change. These are the ones Honda has set to stay there all the time. But anything that's got a white box with a check mark, for instance, you say, well, I don't want navigation, you just click here and remove it. And if I go to home and I go through these, see, this navigation will now not show up. So this is where you decide what's going to be displayed. Now I'm going to go back and turn that back on, so just click right there. So right now everything is check marked, so I can show you everything, but just in case there were certain things you did not use in the driver's cluster, you could just turn that off. I'm going to press the home button, I'm going to go back up, and we are back to brightness. So in the middle of the screen, you have, of course, a digital speedometer that stays there all the time. You've got your cruise control indicator. You've got your drive mode, which you can change. That was normal. We got snow. Love the little graphic. You got mud. Okay? And then you've got sand. So I love it that they put that little graphic over in the RPM gauge. All right, and then below that, of course, you have the ambient outdoor temperature. You've got your vehicle's odometer, and then your gear selector indicator. And then, of course, you got your fuel level. Now, in the RPM gauge, I should point out, you do have an engine temperature gauge. It's digital. That's on the right-hand side, and then a clock at the bottom. Before we move over to the infotainment screen, let me talk for a minute about the cruise control buttons. So this button here will turn it on or off. This will cancel. Down is set. Up is resume. This does have dynamic radar cruise control, so this is your gap setting. And then this is your lane keeping assist system right here. All right. That is it for the driver's information screen. Next, we're going to move over to the infotainment screen. Okay, so moving on over to the infotainment screen here, we do have a 9-inch screen. And it's the same software as we have seen on the newer Honda Civics. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Bluetooth, Sirius XM. Of course, you can plug in a USB. You can hook up your phone and run it through Bluetooth as well. Now, it does have a 215-watt audio system with 7 speakers, including subwoofer, which is not new. That was on the previous Ridgelines. But I gotta say, you know, you can put whatever name brand you want on an audio system, but until you sit and listen to it, you don't really know how good it's going to be. This is a nice system. It has got, I listened to it going down the road. It's got really good sound for 215 watts. Plenty of power. It may not seem like it compared to other vehicles that have bigger systems, but trust me, it's plenty, and it's a really good sound. So if you ever go drive one, turn it on and give it a try. I think you will be very surprised in how well you like it. All right. It does have, of course, 2 USBs down below. The USB-A down here is a 2.5 amp data port. So if you want to hook your phone to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you can use that port right there. The other one is a USB-C, so it's not a data port, it's just charging only, but it is a 3.0 amp charger. It does have a wireless phone charger right below those, and then a little extra storage on the right-hand side. Now, there is no HD radio on this. You get that when you get the black edition. Okay, so that being said, let's dive into this. So I like it that the buttons on the side here, these two they're actual physical buttons, and so are these. They're not touch capacitive. Now, these buttons down here are built into the 9-inch screen. And these are shortcuts that you can adjust. So every button you see down here can be replaced by another one from the screen. So you can completely customize this bottom row. right? In addition to that, you can move apps around on the screen. So if, for instance, I want to move Sirius XM up here, just click, drag it up here. Yep, and there I go. So no matter what screen you are on, you can customize those, and you can drag it from one screen to another as well if you want. Okay, so you got a home button right here. That's a physical button, a back physical button, physical audio, so push for power and then rotate for volume, and then a seek forward, seek backwards button right there. Okay, so let's dive into just a few things here. Let's go into media. But let's just go into Sirius XM for a minute. And I want to show you how to change channels, how to search for things, how to change the sound settings, and how to save a favorite. So, change channels is easy. You just keep clicking. Now you notice that category popped up, so if I want to go for a different category, I can do that right here on the screen. Okay? I can pause something if I want to, and I can play it. That's because it's Sirius XM. I can actually look at a channel list. Okay? And then if I want to, I can just use this to scroll. Okay? If I want to go to the 600s, I can jump. So we'll just click on one here. All right. If I want to go to a favorite, obviously I can just click and it will go. Now, how do I save a favorite? Well, first of all, you find a channel that you want. Okay? And you press and hold. And there you go. Now you notice this little arrow all of a sudden popped up that wasn't there before. That's because it's giving me a new one now. And you have two little dots on the screen to indicate that you have more spots to save. Okay, so that's how you're going to adjust and change channels. You can, of course, use these buttons. You can use the seek forward and backwards on the steering wheel as well. So let's go into sound. So here you got bass and treble. Okay, you can also click and drag, but there's a indent at the middle where it stops. And you gotta take your finger off and click it again. Okay, now you got mid-range here, and you got treble up here. So those three right there, and again, it is a really nice sound system. All right, I am going to go back one right here, and you got balance and fader, and you can click drag. Or you can use the buttons if you want. All right, I'll go back. Speed compensated volume. So if that's turned on, the faster you're going, the more noise there is in the cab, although this is a super quiet ride. If you haven't seen it already, check out our point of view, our POV video on this. It is super well insulated in here. Very quiet ride. But basically, as you drive faster in any car, the noise gets a little louder. This will go ahead and increase your stereo volume so that to your ears, it feels like the volume is the same. And as you slow down, it'll decrease it automatically. You can set the sensitivity of that to off. It would be kind of a low, medium, and then high. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back again. Okay, and then there's a settings button. And if I go into here, Sirius XM has some special things with it as opposed to FM and AM. So that's where you're going to get that. Okay? You can go into there. I won't go into each of those, but that is where you would access those settings for Sirius XM. Okay, I'm going to hit the back button. All right, now I'm going to go straight over to FM. And you can see that it's set up the same way, except for now we have a tune button. So if I go to tune here, I can actually type in a number, hit enter, okay, and there it goes. If I want to save a station, I'm going to press and hold, just like before, and it gives me another arrow. If I want to just scan, so if you've never used that feature before, what it's going to do is it's going to scan to a station, stop, play it for a few seconds, and then move on. So you can see that it's just going station by station, it's going in order. It's finding the very next station, playing it for a few seconds, and then if you want it, you can just press stop, and it stays right on there. All right. You can see a station list if you want. Okay, and then you can, of course, just click on it from there, and you'll get it. All right, so AM is actually, I found it's on the other page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and hold this, and I'm going to drag it, and then I'm going to put it right next to FM. So if I go into AM, I got to hit done first. If I go into AM, same thing. Here's your presets. If you want to save one, simply press and hold, and it's going to make one, and then it's going to give you another open one. Okay, you can seek, you can tune, you can scan just like an FM, you can see a station list, and you can adjust the sound up there. So they're set up almost exactly the same. So once you learn how to run one, you can run all the other ones really easily. All right. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hook up my Android phone. So if I just turn this on, I'm going to swipe up, I'm going to go to my settings, and then I'm going to go to connections. I'm going to click on Bluetooth. And now I'm going to go to, actually I'm going to go to Android Auto. And I'm going to look for Honda Ridgeline, which it shows up on my phone, so I'm going to click on it. It says it's pairing. It said, do I want to pair? Is that the same code? You want to verify it is? Because someone else might have a phone that's not paired with your vehicle, and it's going to try and pair with that one. All right. Important. Would you like to enable Android Auto? You want to say yes here. Okay. Otherwise, it's just going to do Bluetooth. Then it asks you on your phone if you want access, allow access to contents. Of course, you would want to. So I'm going to click allow. Okay. And wait a second. And here we go. So I can now turn my phone off, set it back onto the wireless charger so it can charge, and I have my Android Auto set up. Okay, so the way Android Auto works is if I press this little dice here, I'm going to get all my apps or a split window. Okay, I don't have any reception on my phone, so that's why the maps is not showing up right there. So any app on your phone that works with a car will show up in this screen. And to see them all, you scroll up and down. Apple CarPlay, you're going to scroll left and right. That's really sort of the biggest difference. So things that will run on here are things like navigation and media, and not video. Okay, modern cars are not designed to play videos on your infotainment screen in the center screen. There are some cars that have a third screen and on the passenger side, and then you can do those things, but not on the center screen. We also want your attention on driving. But navigation, you know, YouTube music, you could do Amazon Music, you could do Pandora, all those things, Audible.com, any sort of audiobook will all go in there. And then your most recently used icons will go down here. In order to get back to Honda's system, you just press the Honda icon. Okay, so now if I went to phone, it's going to give you a regular looking keypad. You got your favorites, favorite contacts. You can go into settings right here. You can change devices, auto sync phone, that kind of stuff. Set your ringtone. But I'm going to hit the back button here in a minute. I'm going to hit the back button again. You notice that Android Auto is now in white and not grayed out like Apple CarPlay, and that's just because it's active. Okay, so you would typically, if you're going to use Android Auto, you're going to make your phone calls, at least I would, from Android Auto. And you can use your Google Assistant on your phone as long as your phone can hear you. And you can do voice commands through your Google Assistant right from your phone. It isn't from the car, but it's from the system, from your phone. Okay, so let's get out of that. So Apple CarPlay will set up the exact same way the Android Auto did. You're going to go into your settings, you're going to go to Bluetooth, you're going to tell the car that you want to add a phone, and then it's going to, Ridgeline will appear as an option. You're going to click on it, it'll give you a pairing number, and then it will come to the screen. We'll say, do you want to enable Apple CarPlay? You'll want to click yes, and then it will look pretty much exactly the same as Android Auto, with a few minor differences, but they're minor. Biggest thing is to see all the apps, you go left and right, and in Android Auto, you go up and down. Okay, Now, let's move on. Bluetooth audio would just be if you had hooked your phone via Bluetooth and not Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, then you could just run music from your phone to the car. But that means you got to pick up your phone. You've actually got to change the source, change the track, all those things manually. And then you're looking at your phone. So much easier to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto where you don't have to take your hands off the wheel. All right, let's go over here. Trip computer, okay? You have, of course, current drive, trip A and trip B. And again, you can reset that from the driver's information screen, but you can also go into settings here and you can do reset here and you can delete trip history. All right, let's go back again. Let's go into, there's your USB source if you want to use a USB for audio, okay? I'll come back to those two in a little bit here. System updates. So this does have over-the-air updates. Now, you can connect to your Wi-Fi at home if you want and download everything. What you need to understand is that updates will download if you've got Wi-Fi built in, but it won't actually install until the car's parked and still connected to some kind of a network, and then it will install. But it won't install while you're driving for safety reasons. Okay, so if you want to change your network, you go to other methods, and now you can actually download it. That's interesting. You can still download it via USB and just do it that way if you don't want to worry about the internet. And it tells you the specifications for that USB drive. And then you can go to connection setup here, and then you can run it through your phone if you want. You run your phone as a hotspot and use that. Pretty neat. Now, let's keep going back here. Okay, clock. This is where you're going to adjust clock here. If you go into settings, you do get some different clock faces, which is kind of fun. Okay, so you can change those. You just hit save and it will save. Okay, and you can add more right here, but you'd have to have them on a USB, and it tells you exactly what kind of file types they need to be. All right, we got a few more right there. Ooh, kind of like that one. All right, so I'm gonna go back. Date and time. So here's where you can set the date and time. I'm not going to run through them, but that is where you get to it. However, I'm also going to just tell you that instead of having hunt and peck for that, if you just click on the clock, it's going to bring you to that screen where then you can go into settings and then you can go to date and time. Okay, just a little shorter way to bring it up. This is, of course, the Honda Link app. You can download that on your phone if you want, and then there are some things, connected features you can do from there. Okay, you want to see the compass on this screen instead of your driver's screen, you can do that. Let's see, and then we'll go over here. Smart shortcuts. So the smart shortcuts are going to give you quick access to your call, your music, navigation, and they're tailored to you. And the thing is, okay, it's going to learn over time what things you do. For instance, if you get in the car every morning and you turn to a particular radio station, after a while it's going to know that, and it's just going to pop up and say, would you like to tune to 102.1 FM, because that's what you usually listen to. If you usually at the middle of the day always go eat at the same restaurant, you pop and start the car, it'll pop up and say, would you like to go to this restaurant? So it learns over time, but it concerns, again, calls you make, music, and navigation. All right. Now we'll go over here, display mode. So here you can adjust the brightness of the screen just by sliding. You can use the buttons if you want, okay, and you can turn the display off. All right, so just because the display is off doesn't mean the system's off, it's just the screen itself is off. So if you're running Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, FM, all that will still be playing. To wake it back up again, you can press either one of these two buttons here, and they'll bring it back. Okay, so now I want to go back here to general settings and vehicle settings. So under general settings, okay, under system here, You got daytime language, touch panel sensitivity, which if you click on, you can have either high or normal depending on how well it's working for you to touch the screen. If it doesn't seem to be working, switch it to high. A lot of things that beep and honk at you at the car. So you can set overall system sounds, and you can lower that volume, you can raise it. Text to speech, if it's reading you a text through Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Navigation guidance volume, okay, you can set that. Gives you a little ping to indicate, and your ringtone on your phone. So it's nice to be able to set that. Let's see. You can do a factory data reset if something goes haywire. Right now you'll lose your presets for your radio and stuff, but it'll reset it back to what it was from the factory. And then you can click on it if you want more detailed information, or if you want to look at the data sharing setting. Okay, right now it's turned on. If you didn't want that, you could turn that off. So that's where you do that. Okay, let's go back. You can look at smartphone connections here. So for instance, right now on Android Auto, I've got this phone. Now if I click, I can disconnect and I can delete device. So if you're ever going to sell this vehicle, you want to make sure that you delete the device. You can skip the disconnect, just hit delete, and that erases anything from your phone off of the system, say like it memorized your contacts and stuff. So that you want to do that if you're going to sell it. All right, I'm going to go back again, and Apple CarPlay will give you the same thing. I'm just not hooked to that. Okay, you can look at the display settings. Here you can change not only the brightness, but now you have the contrast and the black level. So depending on your vision, this is a great place to make some fine-tuned adjustments to your actual display. All right, sound is going to be the same thing that we already saw. We'll go down. Under camera here, you're going to, if you click on rear camera, the fixed guidelines are on, the dynamic guidelines are on. If you want either one of those off, you just click off. Right? We'll go back, cross traffic monitor on or off. I would leave that on, because if you're backing out of a parking lot at the mall or whatever, or store, anywhere, it's going to monitor if something's coming from either side and warn you. That is a really nice feature to have. Okay. So that's all general settings. So I'm going to go back again, and this time I'm going to go to vehicle settings. And under vehicle settings, you get some nice little icons here, kind of like you did on the main screen. Okay, the first one is going to do your safety systems, and this is loaded with safety systems. So forward collision warning distance, adaptive cruise control for detect beep, road departure mitigation. I mean, this is really nice. So real quickly, on any of these here, if I click on one, I get a choice to change it. So for forward collision audible alerts and visual, do I want it to warn me at a normal distance, a short distance, or a long distance? Okay, long means it's probably going to warn you a little bit more often than you might like. Normal's pretty good. Short is, I'm going to warn you right before you hit it. So that, yeah, careful with that one. All right. So adaptive cruise control, forward vehicle detect beep on or off. So what that does is if there's a car in front of you that's within range and the radar system is reading it, and it all of a sudden moves out of the range, it's going to actually beep and tell you. Turning this off does not turn off your adaptive cruise control. It just turns off a beep that says, hey, the car in front of you, I can't see it anymore on my system. So I'm just resetting your cruise to what it was, to what you had set. Road departure mitigation, normal, wide, or warning only. So what happens is if it senses you're starting to leave the road, your lanes, it's going to then turn the wheel a little bit and bring you back. Okay, do you want that setting to be normal? Give me a little bit more, a little bit more room. So that's wide. And then if you say warning only, well, it's just going to beep and warn you that, and give you a visual that you're crossing over lanes. Okay, lane keeping assist, suspend beep. If you have lane keeping assist on, and there are buttons on the right side of the steering wheel, if the vehicle all of a sudden cannot read the lines, then the beep is it's going to give you a beep warning you that it can't see lines. So kind of focus, hey, you know, don't rely on me. You're 100% in control here because I can't see the lines. You can have that beep at you or not beep at you. Okay, let's go back. Blind spot information. Audible and visual alert only or off. And boy, I would leave audible and visual alert on. That is what I would do. Do not want to hit something when you're backing up. All right, let's go back. Okay, meter setup, right? Another place here to do trip A and trip B reset, adjust alarm volumes, reverse alert tone, fuel efficiency backlight. So when you're driving on top of your speedometer, you get a little light. That's your fuel efficiency, how economically you're driving. If you don't like that, this is where you turn that off. Okay, so fuel efficiency backlight, speed and distance units, you can change those right here, though you can change them in the dashboard like I showed you. I don't believe the turn-by-turn auto display is going to do anything on this vehicle because it doesn't have navigation. But in the next two trim levels, navigation comes standard, and it's the satellite version of the Honda's navigation. And so I think that was probably just left in here and not taken out. Tachometer. Okay, you can turn the tachometer off in the meter display, on or off. And if you do that, then on your dashboard, you have no tach. You still have all the information in the center, but your actual tach disappears. So I always like having that on. An interesting option, but there we go. All right. And rear seat reminder. When you shut off the car, it's going to give you a little graphic and chime at you saying, hey, did you check the rear seats? Make sure there's nothing there. No people or animals. Okay, you can turn that off right there. Okay, let's go back. All right, driving position setup. I won't go into all of these, but you can do a memory position link. This does have a two-person setting, and so basically what you're going to do, this just turns that whole system on or off. It doesn't set anything, but if you turn it off, no one can pre-program a setting. So if you're going to borrow the car to your cousin who likes to play with buttons, you might want to turn that off so that you can't reset your seats. So that's maybe where that would be useful. Seat position movement at entry and exit. This is really nice. If you leave that on, what it's going to do is when you shut the vehicle off, it's going to push the seat back as far as it can to make it easier for you to get in. When you get in and start the car, it's going to pull the seat back up to where the last memory setting is, and it will sense, it should sense off your key fob. Okay, if not, you can always push one of the number 1 or number 2 buttons on the door. Okay, let's see. Keyless access setup. Okay, so if you want remote start system, you can turn that on or off there. You can have the walk-away auto lock. Okay, so if you have the keys in your pocket and you walk away, the vehicle will just automatically lock itself after you're a certain distance away. Usually that's 15 to 30 feet, so somewhere in that area. All right, let's see. You want the lights to flash when you hit the buttons, you can do that there. So lots of really neat features. You can also set, okay, when I hit the remote lock, unlock button, do I want just the driver's door to unlock or all doors? That's where you set that. Let's go back again. Lighting setup here. So interior light dimming time, open the door and close it. How long do you want the dome lights to stay on? You can set that right there. Those are your choices. If I go back here, headlight auto off. So you come up at night to your place and you shut off the car. The headlights will stay on for up to 60 seconds to give you time to see what you're doing. And then the lights will shut off automatically. Auto light sensitivity. All right, so I really like it that new cars have started to include this feature. So this obviously has auto headlights. So as it gets dark, the headlights are going to come on automatically. The question is, how dark does it need to be before they come on? Well, this is where you're going to change that sensitivity. So if you want it really super sensitive, it's like, oh, it got just a little bit darker. You can put it on max. If you put it on minimum, it's going to wait until it's quite dark before it turns them on. That's the difference, right? That's kind of the gradient here. So it's nice if you don't like when it comes on, you can adjust that right there. Okay, and then do you want the auto headlights on? If you turn the wipers on, do you want the headlights to come on or off? And you just click on it, set it. All right, door and window setup here. Auto door lock. Okay, so do you want it to lock with vehicle speed when you shift from park or off? In other words, you hop in the car, you hit the unlock button, the doors unlock, you get in, you start it, you shift from park, and automatically all the doors lock. Or you get up to, say, 10 miles an hour, it'll be a set speed, and usually it's like 5, and all the doors lock automatically. Or you can shut that feature off. Let's go back again. Let's go over here, and here's your maintenance info here. This is where your engine oil life is, and then there wasn't a place in the driver's screen that I recall to reset that, but you can say, okay, here's what I want to reset. Okay, and here's the whole list. So engine oil, tire rotation, air filters, transmission oil, spark plugs, engine coolant, all-wheel drive oil, brake fluid. So there's 7 different maintenance items that you can reset from there. Okay. Next thing I want to show you is the backup camera. So if I hit reverse, okay, so you've got 3 different views. You got this one here, this one here, which is a much more normal look, and then you've got straight down to where your hitch would be. Okay, so this one is really curved, so you see parts of the vehicle, but then this one is really wide. So you can see that I've got the dynamic swivel guidelines. So these are telling you where your tires are going to go. These little marks here and here and this are distances. The dashed line is literally right off your bumper, so don't back up to anything closer than that. Okay, this is, you have to look at your owner's manual, but this is probably like, 3 feet, and this is probably like 5 feet, something like that. But make sure to check your owner's manual for that. I don't have the exact numbers on that. Okay, but I like it that they're this one here, although no swivel lines, you don't need it because you're so close, you're back up to a hitch. It does give you that warning line right there. And then you do have the swivel lines in this view as well. Now, you can click that, and that takes the parking sensors out in the back. It turns them off. So if you're backing up with a trailer, it's really annoying and your truck's always beeping at you, so you can just quickly shut those off right there. And then, of course, you can take and look at the display. You can have it brighter or you can have it dimmer, whatever is your preference. Okay, but a very nice backup camera system, and the image is quite good. It's not high definition, but it is a good picture. I like it that it's full screen. All right, put that back into park. So down below is the climate system, and I really like this because it's all physical. In fact, there isn't even a climate button in the screen. So your sync buttons here, your different modes for where the wind's going to blow is there, your fan speed, air conditioning, recirculatory. It's tri-zone, so this is the passengers right here. Okay, so I'll turn that down there. I'll turn mine up a little bit, and then if I go to rear, either one of the buttons will move it, which I love. So if you have someone driving with you, it's easier for them to do it, that's fine. Okay, and then you guys should turn the rear off altogether. In addition to that, of course, you have the fan on or off. You can turn it to auto, and then you have got front defroster and rear defroster along with your defrosters that are built into your mirrors. So that is it for the driver's screen and the infotainment screen on the newly refreshed 2024 Honda Ridgeline, and this is the RTL trim level. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.